As Epic ramps up its competitive Fortnite scene, a question many people may find themselves asking is what about the console community? The last summer skirmishes have included both content creators and pro players. We have seen Epic choose to hand select only PC players with the exception of a few console players, namely Nick Merckx. However, console players in these summer skirmishes have actually exceeded expectations and done well when put against PC players. Now, other than the usual explanations as to why watching PC gameplay is superior to console gameplay, like higher FPS or a higher skill ceiling, I believe the toxicity and immaturity within the competitive console community is another reason why Epic will likely focus on the PC scene. Before we begin, let me give some background. Before I switched to PC, I was pretty active in the competitive console community on Twitter and Discord. I joined every big Discord and ran by the biggest and most well-known names within the small competitive PS4 scene, and participated in both scrims and snipes up until about June. And lastly, I really do not want to generalize the whole scene based on my experiences. But trust me, after spending months in over 5 different competitive discords and hearing the same stories from other members, I believe I can portray an accurate picture of the overall scene. Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines a professional as an individual that is participating for gain or livelihood in an activity or field of endeavor often engaged in by amateurs. Unfortunately, for the vast majority of 14-year-olds who think they are professional Fortnite players, I'm not here to crush your dreams, but you're unfortunately not a professional. You're not signed by an esports organization, and you are not bounded by a contract, and you are not getting paid to play Fortnite at all. Maybe you have a popular YouTube or Twitch channel that you'll make a little money from, but until your entire livelihood depends on playing Fortnite, or until you're signed and getting paid by an actual professional esports organization, you're not a pro player. Nick Merckx, who is by far the most popular console player, does not even call himself a professional Fortnite player. Even he makes his livelihood off Twitch and is signed by 100 Thieves as a content creator, yet he realizes how misleading the title of professional player would be. It's almost as if these kids think once they reach a certain amount of Twitter followers, they are able to call themselves Fortnite pros. When you have a large percentage of console players who think more than 100 wins and a 3 KD make themselves professional players, the way Epic and the PC community view console players changes for the worse, as they will never take a top console player seriously. Mind you, these are the players that are calling themselves professionals.
What up, Ryan? Welcome to the stream, dude. Let's see how far we are. We're almost at 900 subs, bro. We're gonna go crazy. Okay.
No, GG.
Yeah, yikes. My biggest gripe with these quote-unquote professional players are the clans behind them. These clans are very reminiscent of Modern Warfare 2 clans such as FaZe and Optic, and while both of those former trick-shotting and quick-scoping clans turned into full-fledged successful esports organizations with numerous teams across numerous games, clans such as iDark, yes, you heard me correctly, their name is iDark, Vicious, Militia, and Vital are nothing more than a group of YouTubers or Fortnite players. Just because a small company selling console thumbstick grips decided to give your clan a 10% off code does not make you a professional gaming organization. Until you are paying players and content creators to represent your org, you're just a bunch of Fortnite players with a clan name in your gamer tag. My personal favorite clan to follow is the aforementioned clan iDark. Just take a look at some of these tweets and tell me if any of these are something you could see TSM or Team Liquid tweeting. Like if you want to join. On God, we beat Militia. On God, they are obviously making excuses. iDark 1, Militia 0. Like this tweet if you should be in. We are about to recruit someone. Is it you? Who wants in? Like if you're active. We are going to recruit actives. Who active? These clans prey on other 12-year-olds who dedicate their lives to join these clans. People will give players within these clans money just to be recognized and often get scammed after giving a player within a clan an account with good skins, with the promise that the clan member might put in a good word for the poor kid. These clans are basically middle school bullies who only let in their friends and prey on the people supporting them and giving them any sort of influence or power. But don't get me wrong, I kinda do like these Fortnite clans as they give exposure to the console scene and top console players. Look at FaZe and Optic, both were just trick-shotting clans in Modern Warfare 2. To call your Fortnite clan a professional gaming organization at this stage is completely ridiculous and laughable, and makes the console scene look like a joke in the eyes of Epic and actual esports orgs who invested countless years and dollars to build a legitimate business. Lastly, some funny things I noticed while doing my research on these clans were that they all have distinct emojis for their clans, and the best part is how uncreative some of these kids are. For example, iDark is literally a dark eye. Powerfort, well, who could have guessed? It's a lightning bolt. And militias was actually very interesting, as it had absolutely nothing to do with their name, and I really couldn't find an explanation for it. It was just two crossed Japanese flags. My other observation was that most of these clans call Fortnite Fort and have Fort within their clan name, which I really only hear in the console community. While nothing huge, I just thought these things were kind of funny and show how each clan tries so hard to copy other clans. If I had to guess the median age across all Fortnite players worldwide, both console and PC, I would say it would fall around 15 to 16 years old. But if I had to honestly guess the median age of a player in the competitive console Fortnite scene, I would honestly say 12 to 14. This should not come as a shock, as consoles are much cheaper and easier to get access to, so the overall demographic of console players should, in theory, be much younger. Now, don't get me wrong, I was once 13, we were all once that age in the past. But when I was that age, I did not have an audience like a lot of these console players do. While I may have been immature at that age as well, you have an audience and are at the forefront of the small competitive console scene. You have a duty to act mature, especially if you ever want a professional competitive console scene. This next clip is from a YouTuber with over 60,000 subscribers and a quote-unquote professional console player.
Yeah, I just got boxed.
Get boxed, you fucking Jew. You fucking suck.
Even players older than these 13 and 14-year-olds are disgustingly immature for their age. One extremely toxic player I came across is called The Clutch Plays. He has over 35,000 YouTube subscribers and plays on both Xbox and PS4. He placed 97th in the solo showdown, so it's hard to deny he's not a top console player in terms of both following and skill. My issue with The Clutch Plays, however, is how he presents himself on Twitter. This figurehead in the competitive console scene is on Twitter calling random kids irrelevant. Furthermore, he's starting arguments over which console is better, PS4 or Xbox. So now there is not only a huge divide between console and PC players, where one player may think one is easier or harder than the other. We have now started an argument within the console scene. If anyone thinks the competitive console scene is plausible while we have the community engaged in such moronic discussions such as these, then unfortunately it isn't looking good. I believe the reason there is so much toxicity and animosity within the console scene is based on how young and immature these kids are. For some reason, players in these different clans feel like they need to hate each other. You guys aren't the Bloods and the Crips. You can be in different groups and still be friends. And even if you aren't friends, you can still at least act like normal human beings to each other. How often do you hear about PC players like Myth or Hamlin's hating on other players? Never. Not once. If you go on Twitter, you will basically find every PC player and streamer are friends and congratulate each other constantly. Myth and Poach even played playgrounds together and gave each other pointers on how to improve and get better. TSM and Team Liquid have one of the biggest esport rivalries in the history of esports, and even their players are good friends and trying to help each other. I have been a part of numerous communities, Call of Duty, League of Legends, FIFA, and now Fortnite, and I have no doubt in my mind that the PC scene is by far one of the most positive and inclusive video game scenes in the world, while on the other hand, the competitive console scene is the most toxic. And that's even more so than League, and that is extremely hard to beat. Again, I really don't want to lump all competitive console players together in this huge label of toxic and immature, but after looking at the most followed and popular console players, it is much harder to find the few non-toxic players than it is to see how unbearable the overall scene is. After becoming more acquainted with the competitive console community, I began to hear and see this word about 50 times a day. Clout, clout chasing, clout chasers, ego. In the Urban Dictionary, clout is akin to fame and influence. I think this is unfortunately one of the less talked about issues within the console scene. Instead of players trying to be the best and competing to progress in the console scene, players are instead focused on gaining Twitter followers and playing with famous YouTubers. Again, I hate lumping all players into this pile, as there are many top console players who are truly focused on improving and becoming the best. But it is extremely evident the majority of the console community only cares about YouTube subscribers and Twitter favorites. This is not necessarily a bad thing, as not everyone needs to focus on esports and the competitive aspect of Fortnite. The console scene needs content creators too, but when the players that are claiming to be professionals and complaining about no support for the console scene are instead preoccupied with getting Trey rigs to acknowledge them, something has got to change. The craziest thing to me is how obsessed some of these kids are with popular console players and clans. Imagine spending hours in Playground writing the name of a kid your age that you're obsessed with because he has a few thousand YouTube subscribers and is in the clan you would die to be in. It's honestly just unhealthy and sad. And what's even worse is how these individuals with quote-unquote clout prey and scam their fans. Kids will give their accounts with popular skins and pickaxes to YouTubers to use in videos and often never get them back. Just last month, a kid in one of the bigger console clans scammed multiple people for hundreds of dollars while pretending to sell an account. And on top of this, when he was caught doing it, he acted like his Twitter account was hacked. Overall, until console players choose to better themselves in the community, Epic and the PC scene will never take them seriously. Even with players like Nick Merckx and iDropSpotties consistently performing well in these summer skirmish tournaments, it's clear Epic has no option but to focus on the PC scene with how toxic and immature the console scene is. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'll be trying to make videos weekly. Thank you and see you in the next one.